Welcome to Once Upon a Time in Black History. I'm Tamara Shiloh, author and owner of the Multicultural Bookstore and Gifts in Richmond, California. I've started a new podcast that can be heard on Facebook, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. So check us out every week and be sure to visit my website at onceuponatimeinblackhistory.com and visit my bookstore at multiculturalbookstore.com. So, for my very first episode, we couldn't have a more perfect guest today. We're talking about a Christmas movie and Christmas books that's written, produced, and directed by Black artists and my special guest and friend, Lynn Sisson Talbert, a Hollywood mover and shaker, y'all, and one of the producers of the new Netflix holiday film, Jingle Jangle. Hi, Lynn, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. You're doing exciting things, girl, and thank you again for joining us a few weeks back for our special book signing event. We had such a wonderful time with you. So
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. I loved seeing everyone, and that was so fun, and those cupcakes were amazing.
Let me tell you, yes, she's always the star of the show, no matter what we're doing. Those cupcakes are awesome, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about books and we're going to talk about Jingle Jangle, the movie. So let's talk about how'd you come up with the story?
Well, that was my husband, David Talbert, our fearless leader and writer and director. He always wanted to do a big Christmas spectacular musical for Broadway. And that what it was initially written for, to be on the stage. And then we were talking one day and I said, why don't we do it as a movie first? And that's when the wheels started turning and what this movie could be, and still having the essence of stage, but in film version and with the visual effects, and just we threw everything but the kitchen sink at it, period, dance, music, children, visual effects. So it was really a 20-year passion project for him, as far as even getting it done and us trying to push it through to get it made. And it was absolutely a dream come true, because we are such fans of the old school musicals and children's stories like Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So we wanted something big like that, but that showed us as children, because we didn't get to see that as kids, and wanted that for children all over the world to be able to see themselves in this film. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
it
was spectacular. I've seen it 4 times.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Oh my gosh, yes. So the movie idea came before the books?
Yes, the movie was before the books, which usually never happens. It's usually they're based on the books. But it was, the script first for the film. And then from that, I wanted to expand the world. I always said in a film that we would do like this, I want to expand this world so that it's with us forever. Every holiday season, I want us to think Jingle Jangle and Journey and Geronicus, just like we do some of the other classic holiday films. And that's really the whole idea behind it. Doing the books, that song, which was the first book, The Square Root of Possible, inspired me so much throughout the film that I thought it would be a perfect book to share with children, and to open up that world and illustrate these beautiful characters that we saw on screen. And so that's where that came from. And from that book, next was our latest one, The Perfect Gift. And then I didn't want to leave out our older children with the middle grade book of, Jingle Jangle, The Invention of Geronicus Jangle, and our wonderful grandmother in the film, Felicia Rashad, her playing the grandmother, and she's known for also doing audiobooks. She was so kind to bless us with her voice and do the audio version of Jingle Jangle, The Invention of Geronicus Jangle.
So how did you get Forrest Whitaker and Felicia Rashad to do the movie?
Yeah, so Forrest, David's actually known for years. We were
Okay.
going to work on another project a long time ago. It was actually another book, Baggage Claim, that we were going to work on a long time ago, bringing that film to life. But of course, Forrest is a busy man and was in the middle of production with something else. So he always stayed in touch, and Forrest is just always such a kind and giving person. And so when it was time for Geronicus, David met up with him in New York, and Forrest said to him, he said, so do you want me to do your movie? Do you want me to be this part? And he's like, I need you to be this part. He said, I need you to be there not only to lend your talent and do the film, but also as a big brother and a filmmaker yourself, to help guide me and support me through this process. And Forrest, did that. And it was so wonderful to see David direct him, because he really let David just be and expand and showcase his talent, and received that. And I believe you see that in the character.
Yes.
David did such an amazing job of directing all of the actors. But him and Forrest, they each actor that he works with, they always just have a special kinship, because it's such an intimate process. So
Oh,
it was wonderful to be on the side of that, looking at the monitor, watching these things happen and helping to shape that.
that's super. So, the costume designer. Oh my goodness. That part, it just made me so proud to see Black folks doing this, and then to be it's such a beautiful movie. It's a fun movie, and with the colors and the costumes. Let's talk about, did one person do that or several or
So our amazing costume designer, Michael Wilkinson, phenomenal designer. He's nominated for Academy Awards. I mean, his work is incredible, and he was so open to what we wanted to do with this
oh,
period piece, and brought so much talent to the table. We wanted to layer the costumes with the African fabrics, because in our minds we're thinking, you're only 1 or 2 generations from where you came from, so that would have been infused in the period as well. And it was something different. We kind of coined this phrase, Afro-Victorian
oh,
style, which is what we did.
okay.
And by including the natural hair as well, instead of doing the typical wigs, we just really wanted to make it our own. So Michael had a full team of people, and we all worked really closely together to create, the costumes for this world. He flew to different parts of the country to get the fabrics, and imported the fabrics. The shoes were even handmade in Italy. If you look at even Gustafson's and Journey's boots, those are all one of a kind original styles that we had made for the film. So the details are there with every piece. And Michael is just amazing and wonderful, so open to really infusing culturally what we wanted to bring in. And I just love him.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. So now I have to look at it again to pay attention to the clothing. I knew it was cool and great and beautiful, but now I want to really pay attention. So,
Yes.
the other thing in the movie that I noticed, but it took me 2 times, I think, to really see them, and those are all the Black inventors and scientists names on the store fronts and on the backs of trucks, sides of trucks. So, how did that all come about?
Well, this movie meant so much to us, and being in this magical world, and knowing, who were we back then in that period. And there's so much history that isn't recorded about us. And it doesn't mean that it's not true or it doesn't exist, as we all have found, and I know you're a huge supporter of. So this was our chance to give some love, support, and awareness to those that came before us. So we named all of the storefronts after inventors or innovators in their field, so that it could be kind of an Easter egg for people to see. You'll see Tharp music named after Sister Rosetta Tharp in the town square.
Right.
She was known as the, queen of rock and roll, and invented that whole guitar riff, that you hear in
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
and roll today. We have North Star, which is named after Frederick Douglass's newspaper. There's several, and I also included them in the latest book, The Perfect Gift. I put them in the back of the book so that everyone can go back and look and know what each one stood for. All the way down to our amazing character Edison, who was named Kieran Dyer, who played Edison, Latimer, who was named after Lewis Latimer and Thomas Edison, so that to remind people that it was Lewis Latimer and Thomas Edison that invented the light bulb and not just Thomas Edison. So these are things that are so important for our kids to know, and just everyone to know in history that we were doing big things and valuable, and we have additional stories from what we're taught.
You're absolutely correct. And you're right. That's one of my passions. And actually, that's this whole podcast is about Black history, past and present. So, what's the message and the experience that you want kids and viewers to see, to feel when when they watch this movie? What are you hoping for? You did touch on some of that. Is there anything else that
Yeah,
comes to mind?
I want kids to feel inspired and magical, and believe, have that belief in the things that they want to do and accomplish, by seeing characters like Journey and Edison and Geronicus and just all of the characters. Just know that you are magical, and that if you believe and work hard, that things will happen for you. So it's important, to know that we're magical, and that we bring that to the table when we're amongst each other, and when we're learning, and when we're teaching. And that's really what it is. It's about being inspired, being entertained, being on an emotional roller coaster, be it, you're laughing one minute, you're singing the next, and you're crying the next because you're touched by something. So
Yes.
that's always important, that while you're being entertained, you're inspired, and you feel better about you.
Yes, and that movie is all of the above for sure. I'm telling you. So the movie's on Netflix. How'd that come about?
Yeah, so Netflix is our partner in that, and it was such a wonderful experience. David, we had done a prior film called El Camino Christmas with Netflix, and that David directed and I produced. It was written by Ted Melfi, and that experience was so great, and they loved the film. Just a fun, dramatic R film, by the way.
Oh,
And
okay.
so from that, he went in the room with Scott Stuber and Nick Nesbitt and the executives there at Netflix and president. And they were saying, let's try to find something else to do. And David's like, well, what are you looking for? And they're like, well, we're looking for some big films. And he said, well, I have a big film for you. Every holiday I sit down with my family and we go to watch all these classic films, but there isn't one that is representative of us. And I want that. And they were like, we never thought of it like that. And he pitched them Jingle Jangle, and they bought it in the room. And they were like, let's do this. And they gave us everything that we could have asked for to really build out this movie. They supported us with the cast and pushing for that. We did a worldwide search for Journey, the young girl that played Journey, Madeline Mills, to bring her to life. We had the amazing, Philip Lawrence and Harvey Mason and Davy Nathan for music. And, Ashley Wallen was our choreographer who choreographed The Greatest Showman. So we had a dream team, with David, Talbert, of course, and Michael Wilkinson and Sharon Martin, and just all of these people coming together for a common mission and goal to make this amazing film. John Legend, came on board and did a song and produced the film, Mike Jackson. And, John Legend even said, I am so excited about being a part of this and doing this because this is something for my little girl to see.
Exactly.
She is going to see herself in this. So it was things like that where we were all inspired and touched by what it meant to us and what it meant to our children and other children and the children in us, the child in us.
Oh, yes.
It being on Netflix, it came out during this pandemic last year, which was kind of crazy. And we were hoping to have it, in theaters, because that's how we filmed it, to be on the big screen.
Yeah.
But we realized that it came out at the right time. We needed it when it came out. We all needed something like that was hopeful and inspirational and fun and inspiring. And we were just grateful to be able to give that to the world.
Super. Oh my gosh. Well, you did. Hey everyone, you're listening to Once Upon a Time in Black History. I'm your host, Tamara Shiloh, and our special guest today is Lynn Sisson Talbert. You mentioned about the theater. So is there a chance that maybe for a small amount of time they'll put it out on the big screen? Maybe?
I mean, that is my prayer and my wish. I hope at some point we'll be able to do that. We're pushing for that. So keep your fingers crossed. But in the meantime, we are still working to create the stage production. So hopefully in the next couple of years, Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey will also be on a Broadway stage and touring during the holidays. So we'll keep you all posted with that as well.
Okay. One last question about the movie. How long did it take?
Oh my goodness. So we were in London shooting for 8 months. So I had to pack up my family and move to London. We got back in August of 2019. And then we were doing the post all the way up until probably close to when the movie was going to be released, maybe like a month or so. So I feel like October. Yeah, it was October. So it was a whole nother year of post. And then remember, pandemic hit, and we ended up having to post it from home, which was crazy. Even doing the score and everything. We had the orchestra in London and we're in Los Angeles. And David's directing the orchestra from Zoom. It was pretty intense, pretty crazy. Yeah. So I guess all in all, probably about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, just to film it, just to film.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it was certainly worth the wait as far as I'm concerned at any rate.
Yes.
So one last question. So growing up, was this a dream of yours to write and produce and be an actress?
You know what? As a little girl, I did probably like play around. I never thought like, oh, I want to be an actress and pursue that, when I was younger, but I knew that I wanted to be entrepreneurial in what I was doing and something within entertainment, because I loved, something within the arts, because I loved being a part of the arts and creating things and making things beautiful. So, my dad having his own business and me working in his office, he's an optometrist in Las Vegas, Nevada, and just those things, you learn how to build and create something that is yours and that has your family name on it. So from that perspective, I was very familiar with that when we started off in theater and touring around the country and, serving this amazing audience that we serve. And so I felt like it was always going to be something in the arts. And then once David and I met, it just all clicked, and I didn't know I was producing, but I was.
Yeah. How about that? So what's up next? Do we get a new book? Do we get a new movie? What are we getting?
So we got the new book, The Perfect Gift, which was recently released. And then we're going to have a Jingle Jangle shop coming out probably in the next few days.
Okay.
Actually, yes, it's going to have some amazing apparel and gear with all of our wonderful Jingle Jangle characters. So follow me on Instagram at Linsis and Talbert, and we'll keep you posted on that so you can get some stuff for your kiddos for the holidays. And we're working on some other projects now, some other films and new books as well. So we will, you'll be the first on my list to know about it, and we'll keep you posted, and you follow us and we'll keep you in the know.
In the know. Well, great, sweetie. Thank you so very, very, very much. It's been my pleasure to have you on my very first podcast, so Once Upon a Time in Black History. And I do want to mention that you and your son are in the movie, peering out of a window. Was it in which shop? Do you remember? Can you tell me?
Yes, in Jangles and Things, we're looking through the window of
Right.
Jangles and Things when
Okay.
Monica starts flying. And thank you
Yeah.
so much, Tamara. You've been such a huge support, and we clicked from doing our reading last year of Square Root of Possible. So I'm just so grateful for all that you do for your community, and I'm glad that I could just be a small little support of that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's been a blast having you as my first podcast person, my feature. So thanks for sharing with us about your two books, The Square Root of Possible and The Perfect Gift, along with your movie, Jingle Jangle. You have a wonderful holiday, and we would really love to see you again, maybe during Black History Month. We can look at doing something, right? Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I look forward to it, and happy
Okay.
holidays to everyone.
Thank you. Same to you. So I'm Tamara Shiloh. Thanks for tuning in this week, and let us know what you think about Once Upon a Time in Black History by visiting our website, onceuponatimeinblackhistory.com. Okay, take care and see you next time. Bye-bye.